Hey, it's Ashley. Tonight's story starts with something simple. A screen flickers, a figure moves inside it, and you get that strange feeling that you've seen this moment before, like a dream you can't quite remember. But what if the thing on the other side of the screen isn't trying to get in? What if it's trying to remind you who you really are? This is Haven't Finished It Yet. The screen flickers. Just once, like an eyelid. You blink, and when you open your eyes, the image has changed. Subtly. The corner of the room is darker now. The chair in the background has shifted 3 inches to the left. You didn't see it move. You know you didn't. But there it is. This is the part where you should feel fear. Instead, you feel a strange exhilaration. It's the same feeling you get when you're standing at the edge of a cliff, not because you want to fall, but because you're testing the limits of where you can stand. You're not uncomfortable, you're alive. The figure on the screen turns its head just a fraction too slowly. You've seen this before. In dreams. In the moments just before waking. You've been here, in this exact scene, hundreds of times. The script is familiar, but the ending is always different. Sometimes you run, sometimes you watch, sometimes you don't even see it coming. You could close the window, you could turn off the device, you could walk away and pretend this never happened. But we both know you won't, because this is where you belong, in this liminal space between reality and something else. You're not a viewer anymore, you're a participant, and the moment has been waiting for you. Your fingers tremble as they hover over the close button. You don't want to see what comes next, but you can't look away. The figure on the screen has changed. Its skin is now translucent, revealing the pulsing black mass beneath. Its eyes, once human, now glow with a sickly yellow light that seems to pierce through the screen and into your own soul. You remember this? The figure whispers, though its lips don't move. The voice echoes in your mind, not in your ears. You've always remembered. The room around you warps. The walls bleed a dark crimson, pooling on the floor. The air grows thick with the scent of decay and something metallic. Blood, perhaps. Your own breath comes in ragged gasps as the figure on the screen takes a step forward, its movements jerky and unnatural. "You've been here before," it hisses, extending a hand through the screen. Its fingers, elongated and sharp, reach toward your face. You always come back. You try to scream, but no sound comes out. There. Your body is frozen, trapped in this moment of pure terror. The figure's fingers brush against your cheek, cold as death itself. You feel it, that same shift from before. But this time it's not just a feeling, it's a reality. "This is where you belong," it whispers, as the screen finally shatters and the figure steps out into your room. In the dark, where you can't hide. You like the chaos we create when we join. You enjoy the terror in their eyes. The figure is now inches away from your face, its breath hot on your skin. "You've always been mine." The fingers aren't just cold, they drain the warmth from your bones. A deep, creeping cold that has nothing to do with temperature. It's the cold of a vacuum, of a space where life has never been. You can't move. You can't breathe. But the panic is gone, replaced by a horrible, settling clarity. This isn't an invasion. This is a reunion. The fear you felt a moment ago wasn't for yourself. It was for the memory of who you thought you were. That person, the one who closes windows, who turns off devices, who walks away, was a ghost. A story you told yourself between visits. The figure's other hand comes up, its palm flat against your chest. It doesn't push. It simply rests there, and you feel a resonance deep within your own ribcage, a vibration that matches the thrumming black mass you saw beneath its translucent skin. It's like a tuning fork finding its note. "See?" The voice whispers directly inside your skull, bypassing ears entirely. It's not a sound, it's a concept, forming fully in your consciousness. No more hiding, no more pretending. The crimson walls stop bleeding. The pooled blood on the floor ceases to spread. The room holds its breath, waiting. The figure leans closer, its yellow eyes luminescent, illuminating the hollows of your face. You see your own reflection in those glowing pits your face, but wrong. The corners of your mouth are turned up in a smile you don't recognize, a smile of pure delight. Remember what we did last time? The figure thing breathes, its own smile mirroring yours. In that little town by the lake, the way the water turned red before they even realized what was happening. And you do. You remember the screams, you remember the chaos. And the memory brings with it a surge of something dark and ecstatic, a joy so profound it feels like a religious awakening. The cold in your chest begins to spread, not like a sickness, but like a liberation. It reaches into your limbs, your fingers, your toes. You can feel the power coiling there, a sleeping dragon waking from a long slumber. The figure pulls its hand back, but the cold remains. The power is yours now. It's always been yours. The smile on your face widens, stretching your cheeks in a way that should be painful but isn't. The world around you comes back into focus. But it's different now. The colors are brighter. The sounds are clearer. The air is thicker with possibility. The figure nods, a slow, deliberate movement. It understands. It knows you've finally accepted the truth. And the hunt is about to begin. Where shall we start? The figure asks, its voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floor. The city this time, maybe somewhere warm. Somewhere they don't expect us. You feel the power thrumming through you, a hungry beast eager to be unleashed. You can feel the potential of every living soul around you. Their fears, their desires, their very life force calling to you like a siren song. You're no longer bound by morality, by the fragile constructs of a society that never truly understood you. You are free, truly free. You take a step forward, and the world seems to shift around you. The walls of your room melt away, replaced by a bustling city street. The sun beats down on your skin, but you feel no warmth. The sounds of cars, chatter, and life itself are a cacophony in your ears, but you hear only the faint, whispering promises of chaos. A mother pushes a stroller, laughing with a friend. A businessman rushes past, phone pressed to his ear. A teenager sits on a bench, headphones on, lost in a world of music. They are all so blissfully unaware, so fragile, so delicious. The figure stands beside you, now a perfect mirror of your own form. It smiles, and you feel your own lips curling in response. Let's start with a small one, you hear yourself say, your voice a smooth, confident purr that is both your own and something else entirely, a spark to ignite the fire. The figure nods, its eyes gleaming with the same sickly yellow light that now burns in your own. As you wish. You focus on the teenager on the bench, the one with the headphones. You reach out with your mind, a delicate touch, and whisper a single thought into his subconscious. They're all laughing at you. The teenager's head snaps up. He glares at the passing crowd, his jaw tight. The mother with the stroller laughs again, and to him it sounds like mockery. The businessman barks into his phone, and the teenager hears contempt. The world, once a neutral backdrop, is now a stage for his humiliation. You can feel the anger coiling within him, a serpent waiting to strike. You can feel the power building, the potential for destruction. Beautiful, isn't it? The figure whispers, its voice a caress against your mind. The little cracks, so easy to widen. You smile, a slow, deliberate stretching of your lips. This is just the beginning. A tiny seed of doubt, a spark of paranoia. Soon it will grow into a raging inferno. You can already taste the coming chaos on the air. A sweet, intoxicating nectar that promises more. So much more. The teenager stands up, pulling a small, gleaming knife from his pocket. The world around you holds its breath, waiting for the symphony of screams to begin. You and your twin, your reflection, watch with rapt attention. Your hearts beating in perfect anticipatory sync. The hunt is indeed on. The blade flashes a silver tooth in the sunlight, but before it can taste flesh, a child's balloon escapes from the stroller. a bright red sphere bobbing on a string. It drifts upward, catching the teenager's eye. For a fleeting second, the manufactured rage falters, replaced by a flicker of childhood wonder. He sees the bobbing red orb, and the anger wavers. The businessman stumbles, bumping hard into the teen's shoulder. "Watch where you're going, kid," he snarls, not even breaking stride on his call. The flicker dies. The wonder is incinerated. The rage roars back, tenfold, fueled by the fresh humiliation. The knife is no longer just a knife. It's a statement. An answer to every perceived slight, every mocking laugh, every condescending tone. He lunges, not at the businessman who is already striding away, but at the easiest target, the mother. Her eyes widen in comical, perfect terror. You don't even have to nudge this time. The chaos is feeding itself. It has its own gravity now, pulling all the little miseries and frustrations of the crowd into its center, which is this boy, this knife, this perfect, exquisite moment of impending violence. Let them see. Your double whispers beside you, its form rippling like heat haze. Let them all see what we've woken up inside them. The mother screams. It's a raw, ragged sound that tears through the city's ambient noise like claws through silk. People turn, eyes widen, jaws drop. The performance has begun, but it's not the violence that thrills you. It's the reaction, the ripple effect. You watch as a man in a nearby cafe drops his croissant, his face a mask of horror. A woman clutches her purse, her knuckles white. The businessman finally stops, turning to see the source of the commotion. His face pales, a flicker of guilt perhaps, or maybe just the fear of being associated with the mess he helped create. They are all so predictable, so wonderfully, deliciously human. The teenager hesitates for a beat, the knife hovering inches from the mother's throat. He's caught in the spotlight of their collective gaze, the sudden, unexpected star of this gruesome show. You can feel his uncertainty, a tremor in the psychic energy field. The rage is still there, a roaring inferno, but now it's mixed with something else. Fear, stage fright. He's losing it. The figure beside you murmurs, a note of disappointment in its voice. The audience is too much for him. You smile, a slow, predatory curve of your lips. Then let's give him a better stage direction. You reach out again, not to the boy, but to the crowd. You whisper a single, unified thought into their panicked minds. He's going to do it. He's going to kill her. The fear intensifies, a psychic pressure cooker. The mother's sobs become more frantic, the screams of the onlookers more piercing. The energy of their collective terror washes over the teenager, a tidal wave of expectation that pushes him over the edge. The knife moves, no longer hesitating, no longer uncertain. It's an extension of the crowd's will, a physical manifestation of their deepest, darkest fears. The blade sinks into the mother's throat. A fountain of crimson erupts, a shocking, beautiful splash of color against the mundane backdrop of the city street. The sounds of panic escalate into a full-blown symphony of chaos. People run, scream, scramble over each other in a desperate attempt to escape the epicenter of the violence. The teenager stands frozen, the bloody knife clutched in his hand, a puppet whose strings have been cut. The reality of what he's done crashes down on him, a wave of sickening horror. But you feel nothing but a deep, profound satisfaction. A job well done. The teenager's mind shatters. Not with a bang, but with a sickening, wet crack you feel more than hear. The threads of rage and fear you so meticulously wove together snap, leaving behind a raw, bleeding void. His eyes, once narrowed with fury, go wide and vacant. The knife slips from his nerveless fingers, clattering on the pavement with the sound that is somehow lost in the crescendo of panic. He doesn't scream. He doesn't run. He simply stands there, a monument to the moment you crafted, swaying slightly as a fresh, warm breeze touzles his hair. The scene is a masterpiece. The crowd, now a fleeing herd, tramples a drop shopping cart. The stroller, now empty, rocks gently on its wheels. The businessman is already 3 blocks away, a speck in the distance, his phone still glued to his ear, a frantic liar telling someone he's fine, he's nowhere near it. And in the center of it all, the killer and the victim, locked in their final, horrific pose. The mother's life bleeds out onto the concrete, a dark river staining the gray. The boy, empty, a discarded shell. You could feel the psychic echoes of their terror, their pain, their last, fleeting moments of life. They are a feast, a banquet of dark energy that nourishes you, strengthens you. The figure beside you sighs, a sound of deep, contented pleasure. A solo, it purrs. Beautiful, but a chorus would be divine. You turn to your double, a shared thought passing between you without words. Why stop at one? The thought hangs in the air, a promise of more to come. The city is a canvas, and you have only just begun to paint. The raw energy of this act, this perfect, terrible moment, is a starting pistol for the race. The hunt is on and the prey is everywhere. Let's find our next artist, you murmur, your eyes scanning the chaos, searching for the next cracked soul, the next vessel for your will. The city is in an uproar now, a hornet's nest kicked wide open. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. People are shouting, pointing, but in their panic they are blind. They see the boy, the blood, the horror. They don't see you. They don't see the architects of their fear. Your gaze settles on a window 20 stories up, an office. Inside, a woman in a sharp gray suit stands frozen, her face pressed against the glass, looking down at the carnage. She isn't screaming, she isn't crying. Her expression is one of cold, clinical fascination. She's not horrified by the scene, she's analyzing it, deconstructing it. Behind her eyes, you see not fear, but calculation. She's already filing it away, categorizing it, measuring its impact on the market, on public perception, on her own potential for gain. A cold smile touches your lips. Here is a different kind of instrument. Not a raw, bleeding nerve like the boy, but a precise, sharp scalpel. A mind accustomed to wielding power, to manipulating outcomes, to seeing people not as souls but as assets. Her, you think, and your double nods in agreement. She'll do. The world dissolves again, the street scene smearing like wet paint. For a dizzying second, there is only the humming, thrumming power within you and the presence of your twin. Then reality reforms. You are standing in the office. The air is sterile, cool, and carries the faint scent of burnt coffee and electronics. The city hums far below, the sirens now a distant, mournful song. The woman, let's call her Ms. Sterling, you decide. The name feels right. Something hard and metallic has not moved. She is still staring out the window, a predator watching the feeding frenzy of lesser creatures. She doesn't acknowledge your arrival. Of course she doesn't. You're not here in a way her senses can comprehend. She sees weakness as an opportunity. Your double murmurs, its voice a dry rustle in your mind. Chaos is a market to be capitalized on. You approach, stopping just behind her. You can see her reflection in the glass, superimposed over the flashing lights and scurrying figures below. Her features are sharp, angular. The face of someone who has never learned or perhaps never allowed herself to feel empathy. She is perfect. You don't whisper a single thought this time. You don't need to break her. You just need to give her a new, more interesting set of variables. You reach out, not to her mind, but to her world, to the very fabric of her reality. On the street below, the police have arrived. They are cordoning off the area, their movements practiced, almost bored. This is just another Tuesday for them. But as you watch, one of the officers looks up. His eyes scan the building facades, a routine sweep. His gaze passes over your window. He sees the woman, Miss Mies Sterling, standing there, a silhouette against the bright office light. He sees her for what she is, an observer, detached, unafraid. He holds her gaze for a second too long. Then he raises a hand and points, speaking into his radio. In the reflection, you see Ms. Sterling's posture change. just slightly. A subtle tensing of the shoulders. A flicker of annoyance in her eyes. She has been noticed. She is no longer a neutral observer. She is a potential witness. Of loose end. See, your double whispers. A laugh like cracking ice. The equation has changed. Now, let's give her the solution. You send a new thought, not to her, but into the room itself. You plant it into the sleek, silver phone lying on her polished mahogany desk. One call can make this all go away. One call can turn this liability into an asset. Miss Sterling turns from the window. Her gaze falls upon the phone. For a moment, she is still. Then a slow, satisfied smile spreads across her face. She understands. The boy, the violence, the panic, they are not a tragedy. They are a tool. She picks up the phone. Her fingers fly across the screen, a blur of motion. She's not calling the police. She's not calling a lawyer. She's making a trade. A short position on a company whose office is in that building. A futures bet on the neighborhood's property value plummeting. She is betting on the fear you created, monetizing the misery. It is an act of such self-interest that you can feel the dark energy rolling off her in waves, sweet and potent. But it's not enough. It's too clean. Too digital. You want something visceral, something that connects her, physically, to the chaos. You glance at your double. It knows what you're thinking. Let's give her a reason to go down there. You reach out again, this time to the city's grid. To the traffic lights, the surveillance cameras, the digital web that holds the urban landscape together. With a flick of your will, you cause a blackout. A localized one, just this block. The lights in the office flicker, die, then surge back on. The computers reboot, their screens flashing with error messages. The digital fortress she has built around herself is breached. Her trades are incomplete. Her profits are hanging in the balance. A string of curses escapes Miss Sterling's lips, the first genuine emotion you've seen from her. She stares at her phone, at the frozen transaction, a predator whose prey has suddenly disappeared. The annoyance on her face hardens into something colder, more dangerous. Determination. She grabs her suit jacket from the back of her chair and strides toward the door. "I'm going down," she snaps to her stunned secretary. "Hold my calls." As she walks past you, you can feel the heat of her ambition, the cold fire of her rage. She's not going down to help. She is not going down to witness. She is going down to reclaim what is hers, to ensure her profit, to secure her position. She is walking into the chaos, and she has no idea she is walking into your waiting arms. The elevator ride is a descent into a different world. The polished, silent box of her office gives way to the harsh reality of the street. The doors slide open, and the scene hits you like a physical blow. The coppery tang of blood is thick in the air, mingling with the acrid smell of car exhaust and the faint, sweet scent of the spilled latte from an overturned coffee cup. The sounds are a jarring symphony. The wail of sirens, the shouted commands of police, the frantic murmurs of the gathered crowd, the sobs of a witness. Miss Sterling steps out of the elevator, a queen entering a war zone. She is unfazed by the chaos. Her eyes are fixed on the police line, on the flashing lights, on the tape that separates the observers from the participants. She sees it not as a tragedy, but as a barrier, a challenge. You and your double follow, unseen, unseeable. You watch as she approaches a young officer, the same one who pointed her out from the street. He is trying to maintain control, to look authoritative, but he is young, and the scene has clearly shaken him. He is a perfect conduit. He is tense, so shaken anything could be misunderstood as a threat, a weapon waiting for a finger to pull the trigger. "Excuse me, officer," Miss Sterling says, her voice a calm, measured slash of ice. "I need to get through. I have an office in this building." The officer holds up a hand. "I'm sorry, ma'am. No one is allowed past this line. This is an active crime scene." Miss Sterling's eyes narrow, a flicker of her old annoyance. I am aware of that, she says, her tone dripping with condescension. I am also aware that my presence is necessary. I have information. The officer is flustered. He doesn't know how to handle this. She is not a grieving relative. She is not a curious bystander. She is something else, something he can't quite categorize. You can feel the uncertainty radiating from him, a crack in his composure. Information? He asks, his voice a little too loud. Miss Sterling smiles, a thin, predatory curve of her lips. Yes, she says, her gaze drifting over the scene, her eyes lingering on the bodies still covered by a white sheet. I saw everything from my window. The lie is perfect. It should get her closer to the knife, to the teenager. You can feel her mind working, calculating, plotting. She sees the boy not as a victim of your influence, but as a pawn in her game. She thinks she can use him, twist the narrative to her advantage. She is so close to the truth, yet so far. She doesn't realize that she is the one being played. The officer hesitates, his duty warring with his curiosity. He wants to solve this, to be the hero. Her words are a lure, a promise of an easy answer. He is about to break. He is about to let her through. But you have other plans. You don't want her to just witness. You want her to participate. You whisper a thought into the officer's mind, a subtle suggestion, a nudge in the right direction. She's hiding something. She's not a witness. She's involved. The officer's expression hardens. He looks at Miss Sterling, not as a witness, but as a suspect. Mom, I'm gonna have to ask you to step back, he says, his hand moving toward the gun at his hip. Miss Sterling's eyes widen in genuine surprise. She misread him. She thought she had him, but she's not used to people not wanting what she's offering. She's used to people not wanting what she's offering. She's used to power, not resistance. Officer, I don't think you understand. She starts, her voice a little less calm, a little more desperate. But it's too late. The seed of doubt has been planted. The officer is no longer just a cop. He's a believer. He believes she is a threat, and he is ready to act. You can feel the tension in the air, a tangible thing. The crowd senses it too. They start to back away, a ripple of fear spreading through their ranks. The stage is set. The actors are in place. All that's left is the final, violent act. Step back, ma'am, the officer repeats, his voice a low growl. Ms. Sterling, for the first time, feels a sliver of real fear. This is not a boardroom. This is not a negotiation. This is a situation she cannot control. She takes a step back, her hands raised in a gesture of surrender. But it's not enough. The fear in the officer's eyes is a reflection of the fear in her own. He sees it, and he knows he has her. You watch, a silent observer, as the scene plays out. Miss Sterling, the master of manipulation, is now the one being manipulated. The hunter has become the hunted. It is a beautiful, ironic twist, a perfect, poetic justice. The officer's hand is on his gun. His finger is on the trigger. He is one thought away from ending her life. One suggestion from you. She's reaching for a weapon, the officer shouts, though Ms. Sterling's hands are clearly empty. But in the chaos, in the fear, no one questions him. Her suit jacket is dark, and in the flashing lights, her empty hand could be anything. The other officers turn, their own hands going to their weapons. The fear is a contagion spreading from one to the next, a wildfire of panic. You and your double watch, a shared smile on your lips. This is it, the climax, the moment when all your carefully laid plans come to fruition. The crowd gasps, a collective intake of breath. The world holds its breath, waiting for the shot. The silence is deafening, a vacuum of sound that is more terrifying than any scream. And then the shot rings out, a sharp, deafening crack that splits the chaos in two. Miss Sterling stumbles back, a look of shock on her face. She looks down at the blossom of red on her crisp white blouse, a stark, beautiful flower of death. She has been shot, not by the young officer, but by another, a more seasoned cop who saw the threat where the younger one only saw a frightened woman. But it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. It was your hand that guided it. Miss Sterling falls, her body a puppet whose strings have been cut. The crowd erupts, a new wave of panic washing over them. The police are shouting, the radios crackling with frantic calls for backup. The scene is a symphony of chaos, a masterpiece of fear and violence. You and your double stand amidst the carnage, unseen, unbothered. You have claimed another soul. You have added another layer to your masterpiece. The city is a canvas, and you have painted it with the colors of its own despair. A duet, the figure purrs, its voice a low hum of satisfaction. A tragic, beautiful duet. But the symphony is yet to be written. You nod, your eyes already scanning the scene for your next instrument. The city is a garden of souls, ripe for the picking. You have so much more work to do. So much more chaos to sow. The officer who fired the shot is already being swarmed by his colleagues, a mixture of fury and disbelief on their faces. "What did you do?" one screams. She was unarmed. The shooter, a burly man with a face like worn granite, just stares at the body, at the spreading pool of blood. His mind is a fortress of procedure and training. But you can see the cracks forming, the doubt, the horror of what he's done. He didn't see an unarmed woman. He saw a threat. He acted on instinct, on fear. A fear you so kindly provided. He'll be the next. Not now. He'll be a slow burn, a ticking clock of guilt and paranoia. But he'll be yours. For now, the raw, chaotic energy is enough. It's a feast, a buffet of dark emotions that sustains you. You and your double stand amidst the swirling panic. Two islands of calm in a sea of terror, drinking it all in. The sirens grow louder, more insistent. More police cars arrive, their flashing lights painting the scene in strobes of red and blue. An ambulance screams to a halt. It's paramedics jumping out with a gurney they won't need for the woman. They might need it for the boy, the original killer who is still standing there, catatonic, lost in the wreckage of his own mind. But he is irrelevant now. An opening act. The crowd is the main event. "It's getting crowded," your double murmurs, its form wavering slightly as the sheer volume of psychic noise washes over it. Too many witnesses. Too much. Order. It's right. The chaos is being contained. The police are establishing a perimeter, herding the witnesses, trying to impose their logic onto the beautiful, illogical scene you've created. They are trying to solve the puzzle, not realizing the pieces don't fit. They see two separate horrific events, a random stabbing, a police shooting. They are looking for motive, for reason. They will never find it, because the reason is standing right here, unseen. Time to change the channel, you think, and your double grins in agreement. You don't leave. You simply shift your perception. The city is a vast network of lives, a web of interconnected stories. You can pluck a thread, follow it, find a new stage. The street scene fades, the sounds and smells becoming a distant echo, like a dream upon waking. The world resolves into a new reality. You are in a subway car. It's late. The train rattles and sways, a metal snake burrowing through the veins of the city. The air is thick with the familiar scents of stale urine, cheap perfume, and the metallic tang of the rails. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting a sickly, jaundiced glow on the passengers. There are only a handful of them, a young couple, huddled together, whispering, lost in their own little world of love and plans. An old man, his face a roadmap of wrinkles, dozing in his seat, a newspaper open but unread on his lap. A group of teenagers, loud and boisterous, their laughter echoing in the near-empty car. A desperate attempt to fill the void, and then there's you. Not the you from the street, a you who is a force of nature, a being of pure power. Here, you are just another passenger. A man in a long coat, your face hidden in shadow, your presence a void that no one seems to notice. Your double is nowhere to be seen, but you can feel it. a coiled serpent of energy at the base of your spine, a silent, waiting partner. This is a different kind of stage. Not a scene of sudden explosive violence, but a pressure cooker. A confined space, a captive audience. The potential here is not for a single dramatic act, but for a slow, creeping rot. A psychological horror story. You focus on the group of teenagers. There are 4 of them, 2 boys and 2 girls. They are trying so hard to be cool, to be above it all. But you can feel the undercurrents of insecurity, of social jockeying, of unspoken crushes and rivalries. They are a microcosm of the world above, a fragile ecosystem of adolescent angst. You pick one. The voice of your double whispers inside your head, a sly, conspiratorial murmur. And I'll pick another. Let's see who breaks first. A game. A delightful, wicked game. You scan the teenagers, your gaze lingering on each one in turn. The loudmouth leader, a boy with a cocky grin and restless energy. The quiet follower, his eyes darting nervously, eager for approval. The pretty one, a girl with a bored expression and a dismissive flick of her hair. The anxious one, a girl who laughs a little too loud, who tries a little too hard to fit in. You choose the anxious one. She's the weakest link, the most susceptible. Your double, you can feel, has chosen the leader. A good match, a classic confrontation. You don't need to plant a thought. You just need to amplify what's already there. You reach into the anxious girl's mind and find the seed of her insecurity. The fear that they are all making fun of her, that her laugh is annoying, that she's only tolerated out of pity. You water that seed with a gentle, invisible touch. The loudmouth leader laughs at something the pretty girl says. It's a normal teenage laugh. But to the anxious girl, it's a personal attack. She hears mockery in its tones, a shared joke at her expense. Her smile falters, a flicker of hurt in her eyes. The leader, your double's chosen instrument, feels a nudge of his own. Not a thought, but a feeling. A sudden, inexplicable irritation. He looks at the anxious girl, sees her wounded expression, and instead of feeling concern, he feels contempt. She's so weak. So sensitive. What's wrong with you? He snaps, his voice harsher than he intends. Can't take a joke? The anxious girl flinches, as if struck. The other 2 teenagers fall silent, the easy mood shattered. The pressure in the car intensifies, a subtle shift in the atmosphere that everyone feels. Nothing, she mumbles, her voice small. I'm fine. No, you're not. The leader presses, emboldened by the dark energy your double is feeding him. You're always like this. So dramatic. The word dramatic hangs in the air, a tiny, sharp dagger. The anxious girl's face crumples. The pretty girl looks away, uncomfortable. The quiet follower shrinks into a seat, wishing he were anywhere else. The seeds of conflict have been sown, and they are already beginning to sprout. The old man across from them stirs in his sleep, a soft sigh escaping his lips. He is a silent, oblivious witness to the unfolding drama. The young couple, lost in their own world, remain untouched, a bubble of innocence in the gathering storm. For now. It's not my fault you're an asshole, the anxious girl retorts, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and defiance. She's surprised herself by the words, a sudden surge of adrenaline giving her a sliver of courage. The leader's face darkens. He's been challenged. In front of everyone, his ego, a fragile balloon, has been pricked. He stands up, the train swaying with his sudden movement. He looms over her, a predator intimidating its prey. What did you just say to me? He growls, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. The other 2 teenagers are now openly staring, their faces a mixture of shock and morbid curiosity. They are no longer a group, but a collection of individuals, each calculating their own survival. The pretty one is already distancing herself mentally, rehearsing a story in her head about how she wasn't involved. The quiet one is frozen, a deer in the headlights, terrified of being next. The anxious girl, however, is no longer afraid. The fear has been burned away by a hot, white-hot anger. She's tired of being the butt of the joke, the object of pity. She's tired of being small. She looks up at the leader, her eyes flashing with a fire that wasn't there a moment ago. "It's a fire you helped ignite. You heard me," she says, her voice clear and steady. "You're an asshole, and you're not as cool as you think you are." The leader is stunned. This is not the script. He was expecting her to back down, to apologize, to cry. He was expecting to reassert his dominance with a few cutting words, a cruel laugh. He was not expecting this. This rebellion. Your double is pleased. You can feel its satisfaction, a warm, dark glow in the back of your mind. She's stronger than she looks, it purrs. This is going to be fun. You focus your energy, feeding the anxious girl's newfound confidence. You pour power into her words, her posture, her gaze. She is no longer the anxious girl. She is a warrior. And the leader, the self-proclaimed king of this tiny metal kingdom, is about to be dethroned. "You think you're so tough," she continues, rising to her feet, meeting his gaze without flinching. "But you're just a sad little boy who needs to pick on people to feel big." The leader's face is a mask of rage. He has been stripped bare, his insecurities exposed for all to see. He is a cornered animal, and he is about to lash out. He raises a hand not to strike, but to intimidate. A classic bully's move. But the anxious girl doesn't back down. She stands her ground, a defiant statue in the face of his aggression. The train car is silent now, except for the rhythmic clatter of the wheels on the tracks. The young couple has stopped whispering, their eyes wide with fear. The old man is awake now, his newspaper forgotten, his eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. He has seen this before in 100 different forms, in 100 different places. The story of human cruelty is always the same. The leader's hand hangs in the air, a question mark of violence. He wants to hit her. He can feel the urge, a primal, animalistic impulse. But something is holding him back. A flicker of doubt, a sliver of fear. She is not the person he thought she was. She is not the person he thought she was. She is something else. Something dangerous. "Sit down," a new voice says. Everyone turns. It's the quiet one. He's still in his seat, but he's not shrinking anymore. He's sitting up straight, his shoulders back. His eyes are fixed on the leader, and there is a new, unexpected strength in his gaze. "I said sit down." He repeats, his voice a low, steady rumble that cuts through the tension like a knife. The leader is confused, betrayed. The quiet one, his loyal follower, his shadow, has defied him. He looks at him, then back at the anxious girl, then at the other two teenagers, who are now looking at the quiet one with a mixture of surprise and admiration. The power dynamic has shifted. The center of gravity has moved. The leader lowers his hand. He looks around the train car, at the faces staring back at him, and he sees not fear but judgment. He has lost. He knows it. He slumps back into his seat, a deflated balloon, his reign of terror over. The quiet one stands up, and the anxious girl sits down. The roles are reversed. The follower has become the leader. The victim has become the victor. It is a beautiful, bloodless coup, a quiet revolution in a rattling metal box. The train screeches to a halt. The doors slide open with a pneumatic sigh. The leader, defeated, humiliated, stands up and flees, not even looking back. He disappears into the empty station, a ghost banished from the kingdom he once ruled. The quiet one looks at the anxious girl, and a small, shy smile touches his lips. "Are you okay?" he asks, his voice soft, gentle. She nods, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. "Yeah," she whispers. "I am." The pretty girl, seeing the shift in power, quickly moves to sit next to the anxious girl, a false, sympathetic smile on her face. "That was so brave of you," she says, her voice dripping with insincerity. "He's such a jerk." The anxious girl just nods, her eyes fixed on the quiet one. A new connection has been forged in the crucible of conflict. A bond of shared experience. The pretty girl, the opportunist, is now an outsider. The dynamic has changed again. The group is reforming, a new constellation of teenage angst. The train doors close and the car lurches forward. The drama is over. The tension has dissipated. The scene is quiet, almost peaceful. But the energy you harvested, the dark, delicious psychic energy of their fear, their anger, their defiance remains. It's a different flavor than the raw, explosive energy of the street scene. It's more subtle, more complex, aged like a fine wine. Not bad, your double murmurs. Its presence a warm glow in your mind, a psychological thriller. But I prefer the action. You smile, a secret, private smile. You appreciate the subtlety, the artistry of a psychological drama. The way you can pull the strings, manipulate the emotions, and watch the puppets dance. The street scene was a blast, a fireworks display. This was a chess game. Both have their merits. You turn your attention to the old man. He is watching the new group dynamic with a knowing, weary look in his eyes. He has seen this all before. He has seen the rise and fall of kings, the shifting alliances, the desperate search for belonging. He is a living archive of human folly. He knows, the double whispers. He sees the patterns. He understands the game. You nod, your gaze fixed on the old man. He is a different kind of instrument. Not a raw nerve, not a calculating mind, but a repository of memories, a vessel of accumulated wisdom and despair. He has lived a long life, and he has seen the darkness that lurks in the hearts of men. Let's see what he remembers, you think, and your double purrs in agreement. You reach out, not to his mind, but to his memories. You don't need to plant a thought, you just need to open a door to a past he has tried to forget. The old man's face changes. The weary, tolerant expression is replaced by a look of raw, unfiltered horror. His eyes go wide, his breath catches in his throat. He is no longer on a train. He is somewhere else, somewhere dark, somewhere cold. You can see it too, through his eyes. A battlefield, a trench. The mud, the blood, the screams, the smell of death, thick and cloying. He is a young man again, a boy really, with a rifle in his hands and a look of terror in his eyes. He is not a hero. He is a survivor, and he has done terrible things to survive. The memory is a knife, sharp and brutal. It cuts through the veneer of civility, the comfortable forgetfulness of old age. He is confronted with the monster he once was, the things he did, the life he took. Tell me a story, old man, you whisper. Your voice a cold caress in the caverns of his mind. He looks up, his eyes searching the train car, as if he can see you. He can't, of course, but he feels you. He feels the presence of the one who has opened this door, the one who is forcing him to relive his past. Who's there? He asks, his voice a dry, raspy whisper. But no one answers. The teenagers are lost in their own world, the young couple in theirs. The old man is alone with his ghosts and with you. He closes his eyes and the memory takes him. He is back in the trench, the mud sucking at his boots. He is with a friend, a young man with a bright, easy smile. They're talking about home, about the girl he's going to marry, about the life he's going to live. They are full of hope in the midst of hell. And then it happens. An explosion. A whistle of incoming shells. The friend is hit, his body ripped apart by shrapnel. He lies there dying, his bright, easy smile replaced by a look of shocked pain. Please, he begs, his voice a gurgle of blood. Please, don't let me die. The old man, the young man, is frozen. He can't move. He can't speak. He can only watch as his friend bleeds out, his life ebbing away, a river of red soaking into the mud. He does the only thing he can think of. He takes out his knife, a mercy, he tells himself, a kindness. He puts the knife to his friend's throat and he pushes. The gurgling stops. The struggling ceases. The friend is dead. The memory is a wound, a raw, gaping hole in his soul. He has lived with it for 70 years, a secret shame he has buried under layers of forgetting. But now it is exposed. The wound is open, and it is bleeding. He didn't want to die, you whisper, pouring salt on the wound. He was scared, and you killed him. The old man shudders, a violent, convulsive tremor that racks his frail body. He opens his eyes, and they are filled with tears. He looks at his hands, the hands that held the knife, the hands that took a life, and he sees them stained with blood, fresh blood. It was a mercy, he whispers, the words a lie he has told himself 1,000 times. It was a kindness, but it wasn't a mercy. It was a cowardice. He couldn't stand to see his friend suffer, not because of empathy, but because it reminded him of his own mortality, of his own fear. He killed him to silence the screams, to silence the truth of their situation, that they were all just meat for the grinder, and there was no escape. You were a coward then, and you're a coward now, you whisper. Your voice a cruel, mocking echo. You spent your whole life running from this moment, hiding behind a veneer of respectability, of a quiet, unassuming life. But you can't hide from me. I see you for what you are. The old man breaks. He sobs, a deep, gut-wrenching sound that is full of a lifetime of pain and regret. He is not an old man anymore. He is a boy, a scared, lonely boy, who made a terrible choice and has been paying for it ever since. The train screeches to a halt. The doors slide open. The old man stumbles to his feet, his face a mask of agony. He flees, not looking back, a ghost escaping the prison of his own mind. The train car is silent now. The teenagers are staring, their faces a mixture of pity and unease. The young couple are holding each other. Their private bubble of innocence burst. The old man's pain was a raw, powerful thing, a psychic shockwave that has left them all reeling. You and your double stand amidst the emotional wreckage, a silent, waiting presence. You have harvested a different kind of energy this time, not the sharp, bright energy of anger, not the dark, potent energy of fear, but the deep, resonant energy of grief, of regret. It is a bitter, complex flavor, an acquired taste. A tragedy, your double murmurs, its voice a low, thoughtful hum. A one-man show, very moving, but a little depressing. You smile. You understand its preference for spectacle, for the grand, dramatic gesture. But there is a beauty in this, in the quiet, personal horror of a single broken soul. It is more intimate, more real. Patience, you think, and your double sighs, a long-suffering sound. The symphony has to have its slow movements. But patience is not your double's strong suit. It is a creature of impulse, of appetite. It craves the next fix, the next surge of dark energy, the next scream. You can feel its restlessness, a coiled energy at the base of your spine, a serpent eager to strike. The train pulls into the next station. The new couple gets off, their faces pale, their steps hurried. They are fleeing not just the train car, but the memory of the old man's pain, the raw, unfiltered reality of human suffering that you so casually unleashed upon them. The teenagers, their own petty dramas now seeming trivial and insignificant, follow them out. A subdued, somber group. The pretty one, the opportunist, is already on her phone, her voice a hushed, urgent whisper, telling the story, making it her own. The anxious girl and the quiet one walk together, their shoulders touching, a silent, unspoken bond between them. They are different now, changed. They have seen the abyss, and it has made them stronger. The train car is empty now except for you. And the double. Well, that was a bust, the double says, its voice a petulant whine. A bunch of sad saps and a broken old man. Where's the spectacle? Where's the blood? You don't answer. You just stand there, a silent, enigmatic figure in a long coat, your face hidden in shadow. You are the eye of the storm, the calm center of the chaos you create. You are not in a hurry. You have all the time in the world. The train doors close and the car lurches forward, a mentee echoing tomb. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, a monotonous, maddening hum. The city rushes by in a blur of light and shadow, a river of souls, each one a potential instrument, a potential victim. Let's go somewhere else, the double suggests, its voice a wheedling, insidious murmur. Somewhere with more potential, a concert, a sports game, a political rally. So many minds, so much fear, so easily manipulated. You consider it. The idea is tempting. The raw, chaotic energy of a crowd, 1,000 minds screaming in unison, is a powerful aphrodisiac. It is the ultimate feast, the highest high, but it is also predictable. You've done it before. Many times. You know how it plays out. The panic, the stampede, the screams. It is a symphony, but one you have conducted 100 times. I'm in the mood for something more intimate, you think, and your double sighs a dramatic put-upon sound. Something with a more personal touch. The double is silent for a moment, considering. You can feel its mind working, its appetite warring with its curiosity. It is a creature of impulse, but it is also a creature of intellect, a connoisseur of chaos in all its forms. Intimate, it repeats, the word a thoughtful caress. I like the sound of that. A family dinner, a child's birthday party, a wedding, so many sacred cows, so much potential for desecration. A wedding. The word hangs in the air, a perfect, shimmering bubble of hope and happiness, just waiting to be popped. It is a beautiful, ironic choice, a celebration of love and union, the ultimate expression of human connection, turned into a stage for the ultimate act of betrayal and violence. Let's do it, you think, and your double purrs in agreement, a low, rumbling sound of anticipation. The world dissolves again, the rattling train car fading into a new reality. You are in a church, a beautiful old church, with stained glass windows that cast a kaleidoscope of colored light on the polished wooden pews. The air is thick with the scent of lilies and old wood, the faint, sweet smell of expectation. The organ is playing a soft, melodious hymn, a gentle, hopeful melody that is both comforting and uplifting. The pews are filled with guests, a sea of smiling faces, all dressed in their finest, their hearts full of joy and good wishes. At the front, by the altar, stands the groom, a handsome, nervous-looking young man in a crisp black tuxedo. He is fidgeting with his tie, his eyes darting towards the back of the church, waiting for the bride. You and your double are standing at the back, unseen, unnoticeable, a void in the midst of the celebration. You are dressed in simple, dark clothes, your presence a subtle, unsettling disruption in the harmonious scene. This is almost too easy, the double whispers, its voice a gleeful, childlike giggle. Look at them, so full of hope, so ripe for the picking. You nod, your eyes scanning the crowd. You see the bride's mother, her face a mixture of pride and tears. You see the groom's best man, a handsome, charismatic man, his eyes crinkling with a smile as he whispers something to the groom. You see the bride's younger sister, a pretty, pouty-faced girl, her arms crossed, a look of bored resentment on her face. And then you see the maid of honor. She is standing by the bride, who is hidden behind a closed door at the back of the church. She is a beautiful woman with a warm, genuine smile and a radiant, joyful energy. She is the bride's best friend, her confidant, her rock. She is the embodiment of love and support, the perfect, loyal friend. But you can see what others can't. Beneath the warm smile, beneath the radiant joy, you can see a crack, a flicker of something else, a dark, hidden emotion, a secret. Her, you think, and your double follows your gaze, its senses honing in on the maid of honor. She's the one. The double is intrigued. It can sense the secret, the hidden darkness. It is a puzzle, a mystery, and it loves a good mystery. What is it? Asks, its voice a low, curious murmur. What is she hiding? You don't know. Not yet, but you are about to find out. You reach out, a delicate, gentle touch, and you brush against her mind. You don't push, you don't pry, you just listen, and you hear it. A single recurring thought, a secret she has buried deep, a secret she has never told anyone. He should have been mine. The groom, the handsome, nervous looking young man at the altar, he should have been hers. They were together once, a long time ago. They were in love, but he broke it off. He said he didn't see a future with her. He said he needed someone more stable, someone more like the bride. The maid of honor was heartbroken. She never got over it. She buried the pain, the resentment, the bitterness, and she channeled it into a fierce, unwavering loyalty to the bride. She became the perfect friend, the perfect maid of honor, a living testament to her ability to move on, to be happy for them. But it's all a lie, a beautiful, tragic lie. And today, on the day of their wedding, the lie is threatening to crumble. The sight of him, so happy, so in love with someone else, is a constant, painful reminder of what she lost, of what she can never have. So no one should have him, ever. Oh, this is delicious, the double purrs, its voice a low, satisfied hum. A love triangle, a classic, but with a twist. She's not the jilted lover seeking revenge. She's the loyal friend eaten alive by her own bitterness. It's a masterpiece of self-destruction. You nod, your eyes fixed on the maid of honor. She is a perfect instrument, not a raw nerve, not a calculating mind, not a repository of pain, but a ticking time bomb of repressed emotion. All she needs is a little push, a little nudge in the right direction. You don't need to plant a thought. You just need to amplify what's already there. You reach into her mind and find the memory of the breakup, the cold, casual way he told her it was over, the look of pity in his eyes, the feeling of her heart shattering into a million pieces. You pour a little of your power into that memory, making it fresh, raw, real. The maid of honor's smile falters, a flicker of pain in her eyes. She looks at the groom, at the back of his head, at the nervous way he's fidgeting with his tie, and she feels a surge of resentment, a hot, bitter wave of anger. He's so nervous, but not because he's marrying the wrong woman. He's nervous because he's a coward, always has been. The church doors at the back open, and the wedding march begins. The crowd rises, turning to watch as the bride, a vision in white, begins her walk down the aisle. She is beautiful, radiant, her face a mask of pure, unadulterated joy. She looks at the groom, and he looks at her, and their eyes meet, and in that moment, the world outside this church ceases to exist. There is only them, and their love, and their future. But the maid of honor doesn't see that. She sees a performance, a charade. She sees the groom smile and she knows it's a lie. He's not happy. He's just playing a part. He's settling for second best, for safe, for stable. He's a coward and he's dragging her best friend down with him. The bride reaches the front of the church and the groom takes her hand. They turn to face the priest, a kindly old man with a warm, gentle smile. The ceremony begins. The priest speaks of love, of commitment, of the sacred bond of marriage. His words are a beautiful, heartfelt tribute to the union of two souls. But to the maid of honor, they are a mockery, a cruel, twisted joke. Love? Commitment? The groom doesn't know the meaning of the words. He's a liar, a fraud, a coward. Speak now or forever. Hold your peace, the priest says, the words a traditional, almost cliché part of the ceremony. But in the charged, silent atmosphere of the church, they hang in the air, a challenge, a dare. No one speaks. The crowd holds its breath, a collective, expectant silence. The maid of honor's heart is pounding in her chest, a wild, frantic drumbeat. She can feel the words forming in her throat, a hot, bitter acid that threatens to burn its way out. He doesn't love you, he's a coward. He's using you. But she swallows them. She forces a smile, a tight, painful grimace that she hopes looks genuine. She is the loyal friend, the supportive maid of honor. She will not ruin her best friend's wedding day. She will not be that person. It's not enough, the double whispers, its voice a low, impatient growl. She's too strong. Her loyalty is a wall, and we can't get through it. You shake your head. Loyalty is not a wall, it's a facade, a fragile, beautiful lie. And all lies crumble eventually. You just need to find the right pressure point. You reach into the maid of honor's mind again, and you find a new memory. A memory of a conversation a few months ago. She and the bride were having a late-night talk, a pillow talk session of secrets and dreams. The bride was talking about the groom, about how much she loved him, about how she couldn't imagine her life without him. He's the one, she said, her voice a dreamy, happy sigh. I know it. I've never been so sure of anything in my life. And the maid of honor, the loyal friend, the supportive confidant, smiled and nodded and said, I'm so happy for you. You deserve to be happy. But inside, she was dying. She was thinking, he should have been mine. I should be the one saying those words. You pour a little of your power into that memory. You amplify the pain, the bitterness, the soul-crushing weight of her unspoken lie. You make her feel the full agony of her betrayal, not of the groom, but of the bride. She is not just a friend who is in love with her best friend's fiancé. She is a traitor, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a poison in the well of their happiness. The maid of honor's smile wavers, a crack in the facade. She looks at the bride, at her beautiful, happy face, at the pure, unadulterated trust in her eyes, and she feels a wave of self-loathing so intense it's almost a physical pain. She is a monster, a liar, a fraud. She's breaking. The double purrs, its voice a low, triumphant hum. The wall is cracking. You nod, your eyes fixed on the maid of honor. She is a pressure cooker, and the pressure is building. You just need to turn up the heat. You reach out, not to her mind, but to her body. You find the nerve, the one that controls the muscles in her throat, the one that allows her to speak. You give it a little tweak, a gentle, invisible jolt. The maid of honor's body tenses, a sudden, involuntary spasm. A gasp escapes her lips, a sharp, ragged sound that is out of place in the solemn, silent church. The bride turns to her, her face a mixture of concern and confusion. Are you okay? She whispers, her voice a soft, gentle caress. The maid of honor tries to speak, to reassure her, to say, I'm fine. But the words won't come. The tweak you gave her has become a blockage, a logjam in the flow of her thoughts to her words. She is trapped, a prisoner in her own body, a silent, screaming witness to her own undoing. The groom turns to her too, his face a mask of concern. Honey, what's wrong? He asks, using the old familiar nickname that he used to call her when they were together. A nickname that he hasn't used in years, a nickname that he has forgotten, but that she has not. The nickname is a key, turning a lock in a door she thought she had locked and thrown away the key. A flood of memories comes rushing back, a tidal wave of love and pain and loss. The way he used to look at her, the way he used to hold her, the way he used to hold her, the way he used to say her name. He was her everything, and he threw it all away. The anger, the rage starts to boil. She starts, her voice a choked, strangled sound. She wants to say, I love you. She wants to say, I'm sorry. She wants to say, don't do it. But what comes out is something else entirely. I can't, she gasps. The words a raw, ragged sob. I can't let you do this. The church is silent. The crowd is staring, their faces a mixture of shock and confusion. The bride looks at her, her eyes wide with a dawning, horrified understanding. The groom looks at her, his face a mask of disbelief. The maid of honor looks at them, at their shocked, hurt faces, and she sees the destruction she has wrought. She has ruined everything. She has shattered their perfect day, their perfect love, their perfect life. She has become the monster she always feared she was. But it's too late to turn back. The dam has broken. The truth is out. He doesn't love you, she says, her voice a low, guttural growl. He's a coward. He's using you. The bride flinches, as if struck. The groom's face darkens, a storm cloud of anger. That's not true, he says, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. Blinded by rage, he strikes out. You're just jealous. You're a bitter, jealous woman who can't stand to see me happy. The words are a physical blow, a final, brutal confirmation of her worst fears. He doesn't love her. He never did. He sees her as a pathetic, jealous ex-girlfriend, a nuisance to be swatted away. She is nothing to him, less than nothing. The maid of honor's mind shatters. The last vestiges of her control, of her loyalty, of her love, crumble into dust. She is no longer the maid of honor, the loyal friend, the betrayed lover. She is something else, something darker, something more dangerous. You're right, she says, her voice a cold, calm whisper that cuts through the tension like a knife. I am jealous. I am bitter. But I'm not the one who's a coward. She reaches into her small, elegant clutch purse, a perfect, innocent accessory for a bridesmaid. But what she pulls out is not perfect or innocent. It's a small, silver pistol, a sleek, deadly weapon that looks completely out of place in the beautiful, sacred space of the church. The crowd gasps, a collective, horrified intake of breath. The bride screams, a high, piercing sound of pure terror. The groom stands frozen, his face a mask of shock and disbelief. You see this? The maid of honor says, her voice a calm, steady murmur. This is what you do to people. You break them. You leave them with nothing. And you just move on, like they never mattered. She's not talking to the groom anymore. She's talking to herself. She's confronting the monster, the wounded, broken thing that lives inside of her, that has been festering for years, feeding on her pain and her bitterness. You should have been mine, she whispers, the words a final, desperate plea. You should have been mine. The double is ecstatic. You can feel its glee, a dark, delicious energy that washes over you, a wave of joy. This is it, it purrs, its voice a low, triumphant hum. The climax, the final, violent act. This is the symphony I've been waiting for. You can feel it savoring the shock, the terror, the raw, unfiltered energy of the scene. It is a feast, a banquet of dark emotions, and it is devouring it. The groom, seeing the gun, the cold, dead look in her eyes, finally understands the gravity of the situation. He is not dealing with a jilted lover anymore. He is dealing with a killer. A woman who has nothing left to lose. Please, he begs, his voice a desperate, pathetic whine. Please don't do this. But it's too late for begging. Too late for apologies. The die has been cast, the line has been crossed. The maid of honor looks at the bride, at her beautiful, tear-streaked face, at the terror in her eyes. For a fleeting second, a flicker of something else crosses the maid of honor's face. A flicker of regret, a flicker of the friend she used to be. But it's gone as quickly as it came, replaced by the cold, hard resolve of a woman who has accepted her fate. She is going to die today, but she is not going to die alone. It's not your fault, she says to the bride, her voice a soft, gentle whisper. You deserve to be happy, you really do. But not with him, not with a coward. She raises the gun, her hand steady, her aim true. She is not aiming at the groom. She is aiming at the bride, a final, brutal act of revenge, not just on the groom, but on the life she stole, the happiness she can never have. She's going to destroy the thing he loves, the thing he chose over her. Goodbye, she says, her voice a calm, final whisper. The groom, seeing where the gun is aimed, reacts on pure instinct. He throws himself in front of the bride, a human shield, a final desperate act of protection. The bullet meant for the bride hits him in the chest, a soft, wet thud that is surprisingly quiet in the silent, sacred space of the church. He stumbles back, a look of shock and disbelief on his face. He looks down at the blossom of red on his crisp white shirt, a stark, beautiful flower of death. He looks at the maid of honor, his eyes wide with a dawning, horrified understanding. He understands now. He understands the pain he caused, the damage he did. He understands the monster he created. It is too late for him, too late for them. But he understands. He falls, his body a puppet whose strings have been cut. He lands on the floor with a dull, final thud, a pool of red spreading around him, a dark river that stains the polished wood of the church. The maid of honor fires again. The bullet hits the bride in the chest. A second, brutal act of violence. The bride falls, her body a broken, bleeding doll, her beautiful white dress stained with the blood of her beloved, a final, tragic communion. The church erupts, a new wave of panic washing over the crowd. The screams are a raw, visceral sound, a symphony of terror and despair. The guests flee, a mindless, panicked herd trampling each other in their desperate attempt to escape the carnage, to flee the hell you have created. The maid of honor stands amidst the chaos, a silent, unmoving statue. She looks at the two bodies, at the two lives she has taken, at the love she has destroyed, and she feels nothing. No joy, no sorrow, no regret. Just a vast, empty void. The fire is gone. The anger is spent. She is an empty vessel, a hollowed-out shell. She has achieved her goal. She has won, and she has lost everything. The church is a scene of unspeakable horror. A place of worship, a sanctuary of love and peace, has been desecrated, turned into a tomb. The stained glass windows, once a source of light and beauty, now cast a kaleidoscope of colored light on the carnage, a mocking, beautiful frame for the ugliness of human despair. You and your double stand amidst the wreckage, unseen, unbothered. You have harvested a feast, a banquet of dark emotions, and you are sated for now. That beautiful, tragic finale, the double purrs, its voice a low, satisfied hum, a blood-red wedding, a masterpiece of irony and despair. I couldn't have scripted it better myself. You nod, your eyes fixed on the maid of honor. She is the last one left, the final, tragic note in the symphony. She is a weapon that has been fired, a tool that has been used, and now she is waiting for the final, inevitable conclusion. She doesn't move. She doesn't speak. She just stands there, waiting for the police to arrive, for the judgment that she knows she deserves. It is a self-inflicted punishment, a final, desperate act of atonement. Let's leave her to her fate, the double suggests, its voice a bored, dismissive murmur. The show is over. The audience has fled. There's nothing left to see. You nod, your gaze lingering on the maid of honor for a final, fleeting moment. She is a tragedy, a cautionary tale, a beautiful, broken thing. But she is no longer interesting. Her story is over. The world dissolves again. The church, the bodies, the fading into a new reality. You are no longer in a place of worship, but a place of commerce, a mall, a sprawling multi-level monument to consumerism, a cathedral of greed and desire. The air is thick with the scent of cheap perfume, stale popcorn, and the synthetic, manufactured sweetness of a Cinnabon stand. The sounds are a cacophony of mind-numbing music, the babble of 1,000 conversations, the happy squeals of children, and the incessant rhythmic chime of a failing video game arcade. You are standing on a balcony overlooking the main concourse, a silent, observing God. Below you, the crowd surges, a river of humanity, a sea of faces, each one a potential instrument, a potential victim. They are all here, the rich and the poor, the young and the old, the happy and the sad, all drawn together by the siren song of consumerism, the promise of a temporary, fleeting happiness that can be bought and sold. This is more like it, the double says, its voice a low, appreciative purr. So many souls, so little time. A veritable smorgasbord of fear and desire. You nod, your eyes scanning the crowd. You see a harassed-looking mother trying to wrangle 3 screaming children. You see a group of teenagers, their faces glued to their phones, their minds a million miles away. You see an old man sitting on a bench, a forgotten cup of coffee in his hand, his eyes vacant, a ghost haunting the halls of commerce. And then you see them. A couple. They are young, maybe 20, holding hands, their faces alight with the glow of new love. They are browsing in a jewelry store, their bodies close, their voices a low, intimate murmur. They are looking at engagement rings, a symbol of their commitment, a promise of a future together. They are beautiful, innocent, a perfect, shining example of love and hope. They are a target, a temptation, a challenge, a fresh canvas, the double whispers, its voice a gleeful, childlike giggle. Let's paint a masterpiece of doubt and despair. You nod, your eyes fixed on the couple. You can feel the double's excitement, its eager, bloodthirsty anticipation. It is a creature of impulse, of appetite, and the sight of the happy, innocent couple has whetted its appetite for destruction. You reach out, a delicate, gentle touch, and you brush against their minds. You don't need to pry, to plant a thought. You just need to amplify what's already there. You find the seed of doubt, the tiny nagging fear that lurks in the heart of every new relationship. The fear of commitment, the fear of making the wrong choice, the fear of a future that is unknown and uncertain. You pour a little of your power into that seed, a subtle, invisible touch. The young woman, a pretty dark-haired girl with a bright, easy smile, suddenly feels a chill, a flicker of unease. She looks at the rings, at the glittering, expensive symbols of their love, and instead of feeling joy, she feels a sense of dread, a trap, a cage. "What's wrong?" the young man asks, his voice a low, concerned murmur. He is a handsome, clean-cut boy with a kind, earnest face. He loves her, and he can sense her sudden change of mood. "Nothing," she says, forcing a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "It's just a lot, you know." He nods, his face a mask of understanding. "Yeah, I know. But we don't have to decide anything today. We can just look." But the seed of doubt has been planted, and it is already beginning to sprout. She can't look at the rings without feeling a sense of panic, a desperate urge to flee. She looks at the young man, at his kind, earnest face, at the love in his eyes, and instead of feeling loved, she feels suffocated. Trapped. "Let's get out of here," she says, her voice a little too sharp, a little too loud. "I need some air." The young man is confused, hurt. He can feel her pulling away, and he doesn't know why. He follows her out of the store, their hands no longer linked, a small, silent gap opening up between them. The double is delighted. You can feel its glee, a dark, delicious energy that washes over you. "It's starting," it purrs, its voice a low, triumphant hum. The cracks are showing. The facade is crumbling. You nod, your eyes fixed on the couple as they walk through the crowded mall. The young woman is walking faster, her steps agitated, her body a coiled spring of tension. The young man is struggling to keep up, his face a mixture of confusion and concern. "Wait up," he says, reaching for her arm. "What's going on? Are you mad at me?" She pulls away, a sharp, violent movement. "I'm not mad at you," she says, her voice a strained, high-pitched whine. I need some space." The word space hangs in the air, a death knell for their relationship. It is a cliché, a meaningless platitude, but in the charged emotional atmosphere of their conflict, it is a brutal, final blow. "Space?" he asks, his voice a hollow, wounded echo. "What do you mean, space? Are you breaking up with me?" "I don't know," she cries, her voice a desperate, frustrated sob. "I don't know what I want." And it's true, she doesn't know. The seed of doubt you planted has blossomed into a full-blown crisis of confidence. She is no longer sure of her feelings, of their future, of anything. She is lost, adrift in a sea of uncertainty, and she is pulling him down with her. The young man is devastated. He thought they were happy. He thought they were in love. He was planning a future with her, a life with her. And now, in a matter of minutes, it's all falling apart. He feels like he's been punched in the stomach, the wind knocked out of him. Is it someone else? He asks. The words a desperate, pathetic plea. Is there someone else? The question is a classic, a cliché, a line from a bad movie. But it is also a window into his deepest fears, his insecurities, his self-doubt. And it is the perfect opening for you. You reach into the young woman's mind and find the memory of a coworker, a handsome, charming man who has been flirting with her for weeks. She has been friendly, professional, but she's enjoyed the attention, the ego boost. She has never acted on it, never even considered it. But the memory is there, a small, flickering flame of possibility. You pour a little of your power into that memory. You amplify the charm, the chemistry, the thrill of the illicit attention. You make her feel the excitement, the danger, the possibility of a different life, a different choice. The young woman's face changes. The panic, the confusion, is replaced by a sly, secretive smile. Maybe, she says, her voice a low, teasing purr. Maybe there is. The young man's face crumbles. He looks at her, at the stranger standing before him. The woman he loves, the woman he thought he knew, and he sees a monster. A cold, calculating, heartless monster. Who? He asks, his voice a choked, strangled sound. But she doesn't answer. She just turns and walks away, a final, brutal act of rejection. She doesn't look back. She disappears into the crowd, a ghost, a memory, a wound that will never heal. The young man is left standing there, alone in the middle of the crowded mall. He is a statue of grief, a monument to a love that has been destroyed. The crowd flows around him, a river of oblivious humanity, a living, breathing metaphor for his isolation. Delicious. The double purrs, its voice a low, satisfied hum. The slow, painful erosion of love, the shattering of a perfect, happy world. It's a work of art. You nod, your eyes fixed on the young man. He is a broken thing, a shattered vessel, but he is not yet empty. He is filled with a dark, potent energy, the raw, unfiltered pain of betrayal. It is a bitter, complex flavor, an acquired taste. You notice someone else, walking with purpose, but trying not to be seen. Ball cap pulled low, dark trench coat, carrying a duffel bag, heading straight toward the exit. A professional. A different kind of monster. I'll take this one, you think, feeling the double's curiosity spike. You have a new target now. You feel the double's excitement. You know what it's seeing. You don't have to look. The mother. The one with the 3 screaming children. She is a pressure cooker of stress, of exhaustion, of resentment. She is a bomb waiting to go off. You leave the double to its plaything, and you follow the man in the trench coat. He moves through the crowd with a practiced, predatory grace, a shark in a sea of fish. He is full of emotion. He came here for a reason. But you sense he was now retreating. Changed his mind. You reach out into his mind, your face lighting up in complete ecstatic happiness. Oh, this will be fun. You wanted chaos? You question your double. Prepare for chaos. You focus back on the dark stranger and give a little poke, making him stagger in his walk. He bumps into the distraught, heartbroken young man. This causes a snap in emotion. The anger rises and the young man turns his confusion to anger onto the dark stranger, yelling at him. The stranger doesn't flinch. He just looks at the young man, a cold, calculating gaze. A look that says, "You are nothing, you are a bug, and I will crush you." The stranger pushes past him, continuing towards the exit, but you can see the change in him. The young man's outburst was the final push, the final straw. The decision has been made, the plan is back on. You follow him out of the mall into the bright, unforgiving light of the parking lot. The air is hot, the asphalt shimmering with heat. He walks to a van, a plain, white, unremarkable vehicle, and opens the back doors. He pulls out a rifle, a sleek, black, military-style weapon. He checks the clip, the action, a smooth, practiced series of movements. He has practiced this so many times in his basement. He walks to the edge of the parking lot overlooking the mall entrance. He has a clear shot. The mall is his killing field. You stand beside him, a silent, unseen observer. You can feel the double's excitement, a dark, delicious energy that washes over you. This is it purrs, its voice a low, triumphant hum. The spectacle, the blood, the symphony. The stranger raises the rifle, his eye to the scope. He is scanning the crowd, looking for a target, but he is not looking for a specific person. He sees the young man that yelled at him. He sees the mother with her 3 children. He sees everyone as a target, a means to an end to the world. You reach out, a delicate, gentle touch, and you brush against the minds of the people in the crowd. You find the seeds of fear, the tiny, nagging anxieties that lurk in the hearts of even the most carefree individuals. The fear of a random act of violence, the fear of a terrorist attack, the fear of the world descending into chaos. You pour a little of your power into those seeds, a subtle, invisible touch. A woman walking out of the mall suddenly feels a chill, a flicker of unease. She looks around, her eyes darting from face to face, a primal animal fear rising in her throat. A group of teenagers, their faces glued to their phones, suddenly look up. Their faces a mixture of confusion and concern. They can feel the change in the atmosphere, a subtle shift in the energy of the crowd. The mother, her nerves frayed, her patience gone, suddenly feels a surge of panic. She grabs her children, a desperate protective gesture, her eyes wide with a nameless dread. The stranger sees the change in the crowd. He sees the fear, the confusion, the panic, and he knows it is the perfect moment. He takes a deep breath, the last breath of the man he used to be. He is no longer a person. He is a weapon, a tool of destruction, a vessel for your chaos. He squeezes the trigger. The shot rings out, a sharp, deafening crack that splits the bright, sunny afternoon. The woman who felt the chill, the woman with the flicker of unease, falls, a neat, clean hole in her forehead. A look of surprise on her face, as if she can't quite believe what's happening. The crowd erupts, a new wave of panic washing over them. The screams are a raw, visceral sound, a symphony of terror and despair. The mother, hurting her children, her face a mask of pure, unadulterated horror. The double is ecstatic. You can feel its glee, a dark, delicious energy that washes over you. This is it purrs, its voice a low, triumphant hum. The beginning of the end. The stranger fires again and again. Each shot is a note in the symphony of chaos, a verse in the epic poem of destruction. A teenager falls, a look of shock on his face. An old man sitting on a bench, a forgotten cup of coffee in his hand, slumps over, a dark stain spreading on his shirt. The crowd is a mindless, panicked herd, a living, breathing embodiment of terror. They are running, screaming, trampling each other in their desperate attempt to escape the carnage, to flee the hell you have created. The stranger fires again and again and again. He is a machine, a cold, efficient killing machine, and you are the one pulling the strings. Then you see him, the boy, the one who was with the girl in the jewelry store. He is standing in the middle of the chaos, a statue of grief, a monument to a love that has been destroyed. He is not running. He is not screaming. He is just standing there, a target, a sacrifice. The stranger sees him too. He raises the rifle, the scope finding its mark, the crosshairs zeroing in on the boy's heart. "Say goodbye to your broken heart," the double whispers, its voice a gleeful, childlike giggle. The stranger squeezes the trigger. The shot rings out, but the boy does not fall. He is saved by a miracle. A twist of fate, a random act of chaos. A panicked shopper running for cover stumbles and falls right into the boy's path, taking the bullet meant for him. The boy looks down at the fallen shopper, at the blood, at the lifeless eyes, and he just freezes, his mind not able to process what is happening. The stranger is annoyed. The target is still alive. He is a loose end. A problem to be solved. He raises the rifle again, the scope finding its mark, the crosshairs zeroing in on the boy's head. You feel the double's anticipation, its eager, bloodthirsty hunger. Finish it, it urges, its voice a low, impatient growl. But you have other plans. You reach into the stranger's mind and find the memory of a drill, a basic military maneuver. The concept of suppressive fire, the idea of pinning down the enemy. You pour a little of your power into that memory. You amplify the logic, the strategy, the cold, calculating efficiency of the tactic. The stranger lowers the rifle. He has a new idea, a better idea. He unloads the rest of the clip into the crowd, a final, brutal act of indiscriminate violence. The bullets tear through the air, a deadly hail of lead, a final, desperate prayer of destruction. The last bullet hits the glass doors of the mall entrance, a spiderweb of cracks spreading out from the impact. The doors shatter, a cascade of glass, a final, brutal note in the symphony of chaos. Then, silence. The stranger is out of bullets. The rifle is empty. He stands for a moment, a silent, unmoving statue, a statue of a man who has just unleashed hell upon the world. He looks at the carnage, at the bodies, at the blood, and he feels nothing. No joy, no sorrow, no regret. Just a vast, empty void. The fire is gone. The anger is spent. He is an empty vessel, a hollowed-out shell. He has achieved his goal. He has made a statement. You and your double stand amidst the wreckage, unseen, unbothered. You have harvested a feast, a banquet of dark emotions, and you are sated for now. A beautiful, tragic finale. The double purrs, its voice a low, satisfied hum. A blood-soaked masterpiece of chaos and despair. I couldn't have scripted it better myself. You nod, your eyes fixed on the stranger. He is the last one left. The final tragic note in the symphony. He is a weapon that has been fired, a tool that has been used, and now he is waiting for the final, inevitable conclusion. The sound of sirens cuts through the silence, a high, piercing wail that is growing louder. The police are coming. The fire department. The ambulances. The whole ugly, bureaucratic machinery of society is rolling in to clean up the mess. The stranger knows it's over. He has a choice. He can be taken alive, a prisoner, a spectacle for the masses, a pawn in their game of justice. Or he can be a martyr, a legend, a ghost. He chooses the latter. He raises the rifle, the empty rifle, a final, defiant act. I am not a monster, he whispers, the words a final, desperate lie. I am a messenger. He puts the rifle under his chin, the cold, hard steel, a final, brutal kiss. He pulls the trigger. The click of the empty chamber is a sad, pathetic sound, a final anticlimactic note. The stranger's face falls. He is not a martyr. He is not a legend. He is a failure. A pathetic, broken man who couldn't even get his own death right. You could leave him like this. A broken, pathetic shell. A cautionary tale. But you are not a storyteller. You are an artist. And you demand a perfect, tragic ending. You reach out, a delicate, gentle touch, and you find the memory of a gun, a small silver pistol, the one he was originally going to use to kill himself, the one he stashed in the back of the van, just in case. You pour a little of your power into that memory. You make it real. You make it tangible. You make it appear in his hand, a solid, heavy weight, a final, second chance. The stranger looks at the gun in his hand, a look of confusion, then dawning, horrified understanding on his face. He didn't put it there. He knows he didn't put it there. Someone else did. Someone else is pulling the strings. He looks around, his eyes wide with a new kind of fear, a primal, supernatural terror. He is not alone. He has never been alone. He sees you. For the first and last time, he sees you. For the first and last time, he sees you. A silent, enigmatic figure in a long coat, a face hidden in shadow, a void in the midst of the chaos. A god, a devil, the source of his pain, the architect of his destruction. You, he whispers. The word a choked, strangled sound. But it's too late. The police had arrived. They had seen the man. They had seen the rifle. They had seen a monster. And they had acted. The stranger is a statue of riddled bullets, a final, brutal act of justice. Or of vengeance. It doesn't matter. He is dead. His story is over. You and your double stand amidst the wreckage, unseen, unbothered. The sirens are a deafening roar. The police are shouting orders. The crowd of survivors is a weeping, wailing mass of humanity. It is a scene of unspeakable horror, a masterpiece of chaos and despair, and you are the one who painted it. A beautiful, tragic finale. The double purrs, its voice a low, satisfied hum, a blood-soaked masterpiece of chaos and despair. You don't answer. I just turn and walk away, a silent, enigmatic figure in a long coat, your face hidden in shadow. You melt into the background, a ghost, a memory, a lingering sense of dread. You walk through the parking lot, past the police cars, the ambulances, the grim, professional faces of the men and women who are tasked with cleaning up your mess. They are a different kind of monster, a necessary evil, a force of order in a world you are dedicated to tearing down. You feel the double's satisfaction, its contented post-feast stupor. It is full, sated, happy. But you are not. You are restless. You are hungry. Where to now? The double asks, its voice a lazy, relaxed murmur. Another mall? A school? A hospital? So many soft targets, so little time. You ignore it. You are not interested in the easy targets, the obvious choices. You are looking for something more, something with a different flavor, a different kind of energy. You walk out of the parking lot onto the street. The city is in chaos. The news is spreading, a virus of fear and panic. The people are a herd of spooked animals, their eyes wide, their movements jerky and uncertain. They are afraid, and their fear is a delicious, intoxicating perfume. You walk through the city, a silent, unseen observer, a shark in a sea of fear. You pass a television store. The screen's a mosaic of breaking news, a chorus of panicked, breathless voices. Shooting at Northgate Mall, a newscaster is saying, her face a mask of professional concern. Multiple casualties. The shooter is dead. The double chuckles, a low, rumbling sound of amusement. Dead, it repeats, the word a final, definitive punctuation mark. They always say dead. As if that's the end of the story. As if that's the end of the chaos. You nod, your eyes fixed on the screen. The double is right. The death of the shooter is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of the fear, the beginning of the blame, the beginning of the endless, pointless debate about guns and mental health and the state of the world. The shooter is a ghost, a memory, a catalyst for a new wave of chaos. You continue walking, a silent, enigmatic figure in a long coat, your face hidden in shadow. You find yourself standing in front of a school, a high school, a sprawling red brick building, a monument to the fleeting, fragile nature of youth. The final bell has rung, and the students are pouring out, a river of teenage angst and hormones, a living, breathing embodiment of hope and despair. They are a sea of faces, each one a potential instrument, a potential victim. They are talking and laughing, their voices a cacophony of meaningless chatter, their faces lit up by the blue glow of their phones. They are oblivious. They are innocent. They are a target. You reach your hands up to your face. Stop. Your vision flickers, distorts, and then goes black. You take the headset off, looking at Samantha, sitting at her desk. All right, the first one was simple. I understood that. The church, wicked homage to a great movie. The mall, not sure if that was reference to that game or if you were just having fun. But I think you shouldn't do a school. You say, looking at her, an earnest look on your face. Samantha leans back in her ergonomic chair, the leather creaking softly under her weight. She steepled her fingers, her nails a stark, lacquered black against her pale skin. A slow, deliberate smile spreads across her face, a predator assessing its prey. She doesn't respond to your plea. Instead, she gestures with one elegant hand towards the dark, sleek headset resting on the polished surface of her desk. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, she says, her voice a smooth, disarming purr that feels like velvet wrapped around a shard of glass. You're missing the point, Logan. It's not about me having fun. She leans forward, her gaze locking onto yours, intense and unreadable. It's about you, about understanding the mechanics, the art of it. Why stop at the overture? She lets the question hang in the air, a challenge and a promise. Don't you want to see the colors? Don't you want to hear how the crescendo truly resolves? Her fingers tap a silent, impatient rhythm on the desk. Put it back on. Don't think of it as a school. Think of it as a grander stage, more moving parts, a richer symphony. You look at the headset, you look at Samantha. You know you should say no. You know you should walk away, but you can't. You are hooked. You are addicted. You need to know what happens next. You need to see the symphony. With a sigh, a final, reluctant surrender, you put the headset back on. The world dissolves, and you are standing in front of the school again, a silent, enigmatic figure in a long coat, your face hidden in shadow. A grander stage. More moving parts. You can feel the double's agreement, a low humming chord of anticipation. You let your gaze drift over the exiting students. No longer a formless sea, but a collection of stories, each a potential instrument. There's a cluster of athletes, boisterous and loud, their jerseys a boast of their physical dominance. They are the kings of this ecosystem, their confidence a brittle shield. Nearby, a group of girls in matching dance team sweaters move with a practiced, synchronized grace, their laughter a sharp, bright melody of social cohesion. They are the queens, their currency is status, their power is exclusion. Then you see the others, the ones on the fringes. The boy with the overloaded backpack, his head down, scurrying through the crowd like a mouse trying to avoid the hawks. The girl with the headphones, her art supplies spilling from a tote bag, her world a fortress of ink and color. The lone figure sitting on the distant steps, head buried in a book, a silent island of solitude in the raging sea of teenage drama. This isn't just a school. It's a pressure cooker, a microcosm of every human society, compressed and amplified. The rivalries are more intense, the betrayals more brutal, the despair more profound because they are felt for the first time. So many instruments, the double whispers, its voice a symphony of hunger, the strings of anxiety, the brass of arrogance, the percussion of pounding hearts and slammed lockers. Your gaze settles on the athletes. A girl, their captain, stands at the center of the group, her laughter the loudest, her smile the brightest. She is a sun around which lesser planets orbit. You don't need to enter her mind to feel the throb of her power. You just need to find the one she eclipses, the one for whom her light is a consuming fire. You find him, not in the group of outcasts, but in its orbit. A lanky boy, not quite muscular enough, not quite confident enough. He watches the captain, a goofy, lovesick grin plastered on his face. He carries her bag, a subservient, hopeful gesture that makes the others snicker behind her back. He is her pet, her project, her charity case. He thinks it's love. He has no idea it's a performance. Let's give the audience a different kind of show. The double purrs, the tragedy of the fool. You reach out, not to the boy, but to the bag in his hand. A simple, almost negligible nudge. The strap of her expensive water bottle, precariously hooked on a carabiner, slips. It falls, clattering noisily onto the pavement. The captain turns, her bright smile instantly vanishing. Seriously, Alex, the words are laced with ice. The surrounding athletes fall silent, their attention sharpened, their expressions predatory. They smell weakness. I'm sorry, he starts, scrambling to pick it up. Oh, whatever, just get it. She turns her back on him, her dismissal a public surgical strike. The other boys laugh, a short, ugly sound. Alex's face flushes a deep, painful red. He fumbles with the bottle, his hands clumsy, the shame of physical weight. You don't plant a thought in him. You just amplify the one already there, the one that whispers he's useless, a joke, a burden. You pour in the heat of every snicker, every patronizing glance, every memory of being an afterthought. More, the double urges. Show him the truth. You turn your attention to the captain. Inside the fortress of her popularity, you find a crack. Her own anxiety, a venomous little serpent coiled around her heart. The fear that she's not as smart as the debate team captain, not as talented as the theater lead, that her entire kingdom is built on the shifting sands of physical prowess and looks that are already starting to fade. Her cruelty isn't strength. It's the terrified flailing of a drowning person. You don't need to give her a new thought. You just need to give Alex the key to her cage. As he stands there, humiliated, a new thought coalesces in his mind. She's not perfect. She's scared, just like me. It's a dangerous thought, a revolutionary thought. He walks toward her, not with the shuffle of a kicked dog, but with a new, hesitant purpose. He holds out the bag. You know, Jessica, he says, his voice a little shaky, but loud enough to be heard by her inner circle. You could carry your own stuff for once. The silence that follows is absolute. It's more shocking than a gunshot. The other athletes stare, their mouths agape. Jessica turns slowly, her face a mask of disbelief, then fury. "What did you say to me?" she asks, her voice dangerously low. "I said you could carry it," he repeats, a flicker of the boy's old pathetic fear returning. But it's too late. The line has been crossed. Jessica's face contorts. "You think you can talk to me like that? You're nothing. You're a charity case. I let you hang around because I felt sorry for you." Her words are a barrage of poison-tipped arrows, each one finding its mark. "You're a pathetic, awkward loser who will never be anything more than the guy who carries my bag." To double shivers in ecstasy. The public flame, how exquisite. You watch the light die in Alex's eyes. The fragile sprout of confidence is incinerated. He stands there, stripped bare, exposed for all to see. He doesn't cry, he doesn't run, he just shatters. A silent internal implosion. He drops the bag. It hits the ground with a soft, final thud. He turns and walks away, not towards the outcasts, but into the empty street, oblivious to the blare of a car horn. He is a ghost, a hollowed-out shell. He has absorbed her poison, and it has consumed him. Is that it? The double whines. A dramatic exit? No, no. The performance must have a second act. And you agree. The scene is incomplete. You let your senses drift from the street, from the departing athletes, up to the windows of the school. One is still open on the third floor. Inside, you find him, a boy, alone at a locker. Not an outcast, not a jock. He is gray. The kind of boy who is so present he's invisible. He wears a nondescript hoodie. His hair is an unremarkable brown, and his posture is a perpetual shrug. His name, plucked from the aether, is Martin. He is carefully, methodically stacking textbooks into a worn backpack. He is the essence of order in a world of chaos. But on the inside you feel the storm, a maelstrom of slights, of being ignored, of having his ideas shot down in class, of girls who have never once looked at him directly. He is a repository of 1,000 tiny deaths. He is not angry, he is patient. He's been watching. The devil whispers, a note of dawning respect in its voice. He saw the whole thing, the bag, the words. You reach out to Martin. You don't need to plant a thought. You just need to adjust the focus. You take the image of Alex walking into traffic and you sharpen it. You make it a symbol, a verdict on the world. This is what happens when you speak up. This is what happens when you speak up. This is what happens when you challenge the hierarchy. The world punishes you for it. But then you add something else. You take the image of Jessica, her face twisted in cruelty, and you amplify it. You make it not just a memory, but a target. A personification of every injustice, every slight, every whispered insult he has ever endured. Martin's hands stop moving. He looks out the window, down at the street where Alex is just a figure receding into the distance. He doesn't see the boy. He sees the principle, a law of the universe. The strong devour the weak, and he has been weak for far too long. He reaches into the locker, past the books, past the forgotten gym clothes, to the back where he has hidden it. A small black case. He opens it. Inside, nestled in foam, are two gleaming, perfectly balanced throwing knives. His private obsession, his secret prayer for a moment of control. He picks one up. The weight of it in his hand is a sacrament. The balance is perfect. The point is a star of cold, distant promise. This is more like it, the double purrs that's vibrating through you. The quiet one, the one you never expect. He's been rehearsing this in his mind for years. We're just giving him the courage to take the stage. Martin walks to the classroom door. He looks out into the now emptying hallway. He begins to move, not with the practiced grace of an assassin, but with a quiet, inexorable purpose. A flood that has finally burst its banks. He walks down the stairs, each step a final, measured punctuation mark on the life he used to live. The jocks are still congregated near the entrance, their laughter echoing again now that the drama is over. They are reliving the scene, mocking Alex, basking in the warm glow of Jessica's cruelty. They are so absorbed in their own power, so drunk on their own supremacy, that they don't see him approach. He's just Gray Martin, a piece of the scenery. He stops a few feet away. He raises his hand. The devil holds its breath. You can feel its concentration, its focus, a pinprick of absolute attention. "Jessica," Martin says. His voice is quiet, but it cuts through their laughter like a shard of ice. It is the first word many of them have ever heard him speak. They turn. Jessica sees him, and her face contorts in a mixture of surprise and disgust. "What do you want, weirdo?" Martin doesn't answer. He just smiles. A small, sad, terrifying smile. And then he moves. It is so fast, it's almost a blur. A flick of the wrist. The knife leaves his hand. It doesn't fly. It teleports. It finds its home in the shoulder of the largest jock, the one who laughed the loudest. He doesn't even scream at first. He just looks down at the handle jutting from his body, at the dark stain spreading on his Letterman jacket, a look of profound, idiotic confusion on his face. Then he screams, a high, girlish scream of shock. The world explodes. The group of athletes scatters, a panicked, squawking flock of birds. They run, they trip. They fall over each other in their desperate attempt to escape the gray, unassuming boy who has suddenly become a monster. Jessica stands frozen, her face a mask of terror. She is the queen, and her kingdom has fallen in an instant. Martin raises his other hand. He still has one knife left. He looks at Jessica, the embodiment of everything he hates, everything he has suffered. The target. The final solution. "Say hello to Alex for me," he whispers. He throws the knife, but it doesn't find its mark. As he releases it, you give a small, subtle push to the world. A gust of wind, a freak tremor in the floor, a slight miscalculation in the trajectory. The knife, aimed at her heart, instead thuds into the wooden door frame right beside her head. A final, Brutal warning. Jessica flinches, a spray of splinters dusting her cheek. She looks at the knife. A silvered, deadly ornament inches from her face. She looks at Martin, at the calm, empty look in his eyes, and she knows that he could have killed her. He chose not to. And in that choice, in that act of mercy, she finds a terror greater than death. She has been judged and found wanting. She screams, a raw, piercing sound of horror, and runs. Martin watches her go, a strange, detached curiosity in his gaze. He doesn't pursue. He has made his statement. The performance is over. He turns and walks back into the school, leaving the chaos, the panic, the bleeding jock in the doorway. He is not a killer. Not yet. He is an artist, and he has left his signature on the wall. You feel the double's confusion, its frustration. Why? It demands, its voice a low, impatient growl. Why let her live? The crescendo was right there. Because a death is an ending, you think. But this is a beginning. You gave him a gift, the gift of terror, the gift of doubt. Jessica will never sleep soundly again. She will always look over her shoulder. She will always see the gray boy's face in her nightmares. And the others. The ones who laughed. The ones who looked away. They will all be infected. They will all be infected. They will all be afraid. This is a more elegant form of chaos. A virus, not a bomb. The double is silent for a moment, pondering this. A slow, appreciative chuckle rumbles through your shared consciousness. A slow-acting poison, it purrs. More subtle. More artistic. I see. You follow Martin back into the school. The alarm is blaring now. A deafening, rhythmic shriek that echoes to the empty halls. He ignores it. He walks with a steady, unhurried pace, as if he's just heading to his next class. He walks past the principal's office, past the library, past the trophy case filled with reminders of the school's hollow victories. He stops in front of a classroom. Room 314, History. He looks through the small window in the door. The class is in a state of controlled panic. The teacher, a harried-looking woman with glasses perched on her nose, is trying to keep them calm, to herd them into the corner away from the door. The students are huddled together, a trembling mass of fear and confusion. And then, you see her. The girl with the headphones, the one with the art supplies. She is not huddled with the others. She is sitting at her desk, her back to the door, her headphones on, her sketchbook open. She is drawing. Furiously, frantically, her pencil a blur across the page. She is not ignoring the chaos. She is capturing it. She is translating the terror into lines and shadows, into a work of art. Martin sees her too. He is intrigued. He is a lone wolf, and he has just spotted another. He opens the door. The teacher screams. A high, panicked sound. The students cry out, a chorus of terror. But the girl with the headphones, the artist, she doesn't move. She doesn't even flinch. She's in her own world, a fortress of paper and ink. Martin walks towards her, his steps silent on the linoleum floor. He stands behind her, looking over her shoulder at her drawing. It is a masterpiece of horror, a dark, twisted vision of the scene, a nightmare made real. The faces of the other students are distorted masks of fear. The teacher is a gorgon, and the alarm is a physical presence, a writhing, screaming serpent. It's good, Martin says, his voice a quiet, neutral murmur. The girl stops drawing. She slowly takes off her headphones. She turns around, and she looks at him. She is not afraid. She is not surprised. She is not surprised. She is curious. She looks into his eyes, the empty, soulless eyes of a monster. And she doesn't see a monster. She sees a kindred spirit. It's not finished, she says, her voice a low, raspy whisper. Her name, you pluck from the aether, is Julie. It needs a focal point, Martin says, his voice a calm, thoughtful observation. A centerpiece. Julie nods, a slow, deliberate gesture. She knows what he means. She looks at her drawing, at the writhing, screaming serpent of the alarm, and she knows what's missing. what it needs. It needs a god, a devil, a source of the chaos. She looks up at him, a new light in her eyes, a look of understanding, of collaboration. She is not a victim. She is a co-conspirator. She picks up her pencil, a final, decisive act. "I'm Julie," she says, her voice a quiet, intimate confession. "I know," Martin says. She starts to draw. She draws him. Not the gray, unassuming boy, but the dark, enigmatic figure he has become. A shadow in the doorway, a void in the midst of the chaos. The god of their private hell. The double is ecstatic. You can feel its glee, a dark, delicious energy that washes over you. "This is it," it purrs, its voice a low, triumphant hum. The partnership, the meeting of minds, the creation of a new mythology. You nod, your eyes fixed on the drawing. You are not just a witness, you are a muse, an inspiration. You have brought two souls together, two artists, and you have given them a shared vision, a common purpose. They are no longer just individuals, they are a team, a duo, a force to be reckoned with. The classroom is a bubble of silence in the midst of the chaos. The other students are huddled in the corner, a trembling mass of fear and confusion, but Julie and Martin are in their own world, a shared space of creativity and destruction. They are not afraid. They are empowered. "We need to leave," Martin says, his voice a calm, practical observation. "They're coming." Julie nods, a gesture of complete trust. She closes her sketchbook, a final, definitive act. She stands up and she follows him, her movements a mirror of his, a silent, synchronized dance. They walk out of the classroom into the chaos of the hallway. The alarm is still blaring, a deafening, rhythmic shriek. The police are here. You can hear their shouts, their heavy, booted footsteps echoing through the school. They are a force of order, a counterweight to your chaos. They are the enemy. Martin and Julie move with a practiced, predatory grace. They are not running, they are flowing. They are a river of darkness, flowing through the school, a silent, unseen force of nature. They are not hiding, they are hunting. They find a fire exit, a heavy steel door that leads to the outside world. Martin pushes it open, a final, defiant act. They step out of the school into the bright, unforgiving light of the setting sun. The world is a canvas of orange and purple, a beautiful, peaceful backdrop for their escape. They are free, they are fugitives, they are artists on the run. They walk away from the school, a silent, enigmatic pair, a boy and a girl, a monster and his muse. They are a story that has just begun, a legend in the making. They have left their mark on the school, a signature of blood and lead and ink, a warning to the world that the monsters are real and they are walking among us. You and your double stand on the roof of the school, unseen, unbothered. You have created something new, something beautiful, something terrible. You have not just destroyed a life, you have created a partnership, a mythology, a movement, a beautiful, tragic beginning. The double purrs, its voice a low, satisfied hum. A new chapter in the epic poem of chaos and despair. I can't wait to see what they do next. You nod, your eyes fixed on the retreating figures of Martin and Julie. They are a new kind of weapon, a more sophisticated, more subtle instrument of your will. They are not just puppets, but the world is not a blank canvas. It is a tapestry of a million other stories, a million other lives. And some of those lives are not as fragile, not as easily broken. You feel a change in the atmosphere, a shift in the energy. Your vision flickers again like a screen losing input. The world dissolves. The school, the setting sun, the fleeing artists all fade to black. You take the headset off. You're back in Samantha's office. The silence is a physical presence, a stark, crushing weight after the cacophony of the simulation. Samantha is still leaning forward, her fingers steepled, her expression unchanged. "So," she says, her voice is smooth, disarming purr. "The partnership, the artists. What did you think of that, Logan?" You look at her at the cold, calculating gleam in her eyes. She is not asking for your opinion. She is testing you, probing you, seeing if you understand the lesson. It's a different kind of chaos, you say, your voice a little hoarse. It's not just a single event. It's a story, a long-term infection. She smiles, a slow, deliberate curving of her lips. Exactly. A virus, not a bomb. They are patient zero. They will spread their art, their gospel, their beautiful, terrible truth. They will inspire others. They will create a family. The word family hangs in the air, a new, more disturbing concept. A legion of monsters. You look at her more closely, looking deeper into her intense green eyes. You is. You pause to think. Is this us, you ask? She chuckles, a low, musical sound that is utterly devoid of warmth. Maybe, maybe not. I haven't figured that out yet. But what do you think so far? Haven't finished it, but can't figure out where to take it. You take a deep breath, the stale, recycled air of the office filling your lungs. You think about the world you've just left, the story you've just witnessed. You think about Martin and Julie, about their potential, about the beautiful, terrible things they could do. And you know exactly where the story needs to go. The family needs a home, you say, the words coming to you with a sudden, unshakable clarity. They need a nest, a place to hide, a place to create. Samantha's smile widens. Go on. A place that's already forgotten by the world, you continue, your voice gaining confidence. A new authority. A place with a history. A place that's already filled with echoes of pain and despair. You close your eyes and you see it. You see the perfect place. A place that is not a school, not a mall, not a church. A place that is its own kind of hell. An asylum, you whisper, the word a final, perfect piece of the puzzle. A place where the lines between sanity and madness are already blurred. A place where no one will hear the screams. Samantha's eyes light up, a spark of genuine admiration in their depths. An asylum, she repeats, the word a slow, savoring purr. Oh, that is exquisite. She leans back, the creak of her chair a gunshot in the quiet room. A place where the patients run the ward, where the art is therapy and the therapy is torture. She taps a single lacquered nail on her desk. That is why I low. Let's build it together. You don't hesitate. You sit down next to her and start programming, not sure what the future holds for her, for you, for the game. But you know one thing for sure. This is going to be fun. Haven't finished it yet. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the channel and allows me to keep bringing you more strange and unsettling stories like this. There are plenty more coming soon. More mysteries, more horrors, more stories that might make you question what's really out there. And maybe what's inside us too. So stay tuned, and thanks again for listening.